Hey everybody. Hello everyone. How you doing this afternoon? I hope you're well. Is everyone keeping? So I'm gonna do a little joined up Facebook Live today. I'm gonna have Greg Ferrin from Project Fit back on with me today. So just because it's good to actually have someone to talk to once in a while in these Facebook Lives, so it's good to join in. Let me see if I can get Greg going. That's cool. I'm gonna get him jumping in here. And we're going to chat about, so Greg, one of the things that he does in his programs about, training smarter, not harder, and I'm going to ask him to give his little take on. Now we're getting echo.
How you doing? Oh no. Do you want me to get my headphones again?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Okay. Greg's just a way to get us to ear. Because I'm getting echo again. I know, so unprepared.
Right. Hold on, I need to do some stuff. Hang on a second. I always forget that. Always forget.
Yes, we have a role saying this guy. Oh, have I lost you? Are you there? Yeah, okay, cool. You're back.
Perfect. So I will remember one day.
Yeah. Is that all right?
How are you?
Coming through? Everyone can tell us. I hope nobody's having an echo listening to us anyhow, so everyone can let us know if the sound's coming through okay. So needs to pay his Wi-Fi bill apparently.
Brilliant.
You've been named and shamed.
Obviously.
So cool. So thanks for joining me today, Greg. We're gonna upside down. You upside down? No, he's the right way up for me. I can see.
Yeah, well, yeah.
No. Maybe they just come through a bit late. So yeah. So Greg, I asked Greg to jump on today, and I was just saying to give your kind of take on around about training and how you help women really, because that's who you help as well as myself to just be able to fit in exercise. Whenever they're we're all too busy, everyone's stuck for time and kind of feel like exercise is a bit of a luxury. It's an afterthought. If you just so happen to have some time, you might get into a bit of exercise, and is to try and we try and change that perspective where we like to say, yeah, he's okay. Cheers, Eileen. Thank you. We're all good. So that exercise is something that our bodies actually need. It's not necessarily just something that we kind of want to do. It's a necessary, and I suppose a lot of times people think that it takes up too much time. So Greg, what's your kind of take on it, and how do you go around about helping people to kind of get exercise into their days, really? And
I guess there's always two perspectives, right? There's always I'm all in or I'm all out of exercise. So I guess my take is to, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. My take is to kind of look at where the person is at, and I'll work on, we're running now, what can they do within the time that they've got?
Mm-hmm.
So, not often people want to do like 5 times a week, go hard, really smash themselves in the gym, when actually they're not quite ready for it. So maybe the exercise might be go for a walk, start using the stairs. Simple. I tend to use exercise as a way to get stronger, fitter, healthier, rather than using it for actually losing weight.
Hmm.
Because as we know, the energy you use in exercise isn't that much. You can easily kill it with a Snickers bar.
Yeah.
One Snickers bar, that's your training gone all over. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's generally how I approach it.
Yeah.
Um, it's all about minimal effective dose for most people. Um, we work with busy people, so if they can get 20 minutes in, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be, like you said, it's not anything complicated. It doesn't have to be a laborious, some crazy workout, unless that's what you want to do. But for some people, it is that simple, isn't it? It's just,
And it's always basics as well, right? It's not like you see all these Instagram people doing all these crazy exercises, and you think, well, if I want to look like her or him, I have to do all these funky things. And that's not the case.
hmm
It's the basics. It's like overhead press, squat, a lunge, a hip hinge, so
hmm
deadlifts and swings for most people, um, some form of rotation or core exercise.
hmm
And I think we've pretty much got it, haven't we?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't need to be super. And actually, I find I get the best results when people do the most basic workouts. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just that repetition as well. So I always have push-ups in mind. And I always like getting women to do push-ups because I know it feels like the toughest, hardest thing for any woman to kind of get their head around. And I like to try and maybe that's just me. I like to try and get through that breakthrough
You,
for
you,
women.
you evil person, you. No, I think often what I speak to my clients is all of their exercises has always been like from the chest downwards, so leg bums and tums, all that kind of stuff. So you never work upwards.
Hmm.
So overhead pressing is always really tough for ladies. Um, and that's something I think most people should try and include in their training if they can, if they're capable, of course. But yeah, I think you're right. Put some press ups in, put some overhead presses in.
Yeah.
Yeah, make them work for it. Why not? You evil person, you. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, I think
But
you're right.
again,
I think it's a
it comes down to the biggest bang for your buck, isn't it, really? So you as tough as they are, but what you're talking about is sort of compound movements. So movements that incorporate joints and lots of different muscle groups at the same time. So that's when you kind of, yeah, get the
yeah,
most amount of results and the amount of gains, if you like. We talk about bro gains, but you
gains.
do. No, I can't believe I just said that. What do you have, 2 week arms badly broken?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh,
But
no,
people
someone's
need
just put a
to.
comment on, so sorry, I'm
Oh,
just reading
go
the
on.
comment. What if you
So
have
yeah,
2 weak arms badly broken? Well, if they're badly broken,
if they're
I wonder
broken,
how badly broken.
you should be seeing a doctor, right?
Yeah, totally.
um, but I think that's a good question. Like, if you've got a weak upper body, how do you start? So, for instance, with press ups, now you can start on a sofa, so an
Hmm.
elevated surface. In fact, I've got one lady who's had shoulder surgery recently, and she's been doing press ups against the wall.
Yeah, perfect.
So then you just work it down and work the elevation down until you can eventually do them.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's many ways around it.
absolutely. And I remember one client that I had once, and that was one of her things was actually she came to me and talking about goals, and she said, I just want to be able to do a full body push up. She goes, I don't know why, I just want to be able to do one. And I was like, right, fine. And she was quite strong anyhow. She was someone who was probably more capable than what she realized.
Yeah,
But again, it was how I approach it sometimes is by breaking it down. So breaking the push up down, the full body push up. So getting to do the full body push up, but breaking it down into the three segments really, and working on each individual area as well. So
yeah. We're starting from the kind of basic plank. Can they hold a plank?
can
That's
they
probably a
lower?
first start.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and then maybe forearms, and then working from there. Because like press ups, it's not just the chest exercise. It's arms, it's core, everything.
hmm
So
hmm
yeah, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with your approach. You know your
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Thank you.
You know your stuff.
I like to think
But
so.
yeah, I think what's probably been quite helpful is the kind of marketing around HIIT training. So
Mhm.
everyone's talking about HIIT. Um, and I'm going to be controversial and say, look, most people aren't doing HIIT training, but as it's badged as HIIT training, we'll just call it HIIT. I know. I'm sorry, people. Sorry, but they're doing interval type training. Maybe
Yeah.
not high intensity, but they're doing medium intensity training. And I think that's been useful to show people that actually you can get a good workout in 15, 20 minutes, and still get results, which I think is awesome for people. So, if you're a busy entrepreneur or you're someone who's really busy, do it in your hotel room, do it in your front room, do it in the park, garden. It's easy to do. You don't need lots of fancy kit.
Yeah, yeah. And
So
most exercises you can do are body weight anyhow, so and that's tough enough. Like you said.
yeah, the Bulgarian split squats. Oh man, just on body weight are
Yeah.
evil. That's my favorite exercise, by the way.
Yeah.
Bulgarians.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I was
Oh,
just going back
honestly.
to the comment there so it was from Carrie who was saying about her arms. She said, what do you
Okay.
do? She's got weak arms, badly broken. And I don't think physically broken, obviously they're just
Yeah.
they've been injured in the past and she has weaknesses from both of them. But I think like you said, you adapted. For example, like the push up, you could do a push up against a wall as opposed to, you know, putting too much pressure through them and going to the ground. But it's a matter of being patient and building up. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. They want to do a back squat before they can even do a normal body weight squat, right? Or people are doing burpees when they can't squat. Now, if you can't squat, you shouldn't be doing burpees.
Yeah.
Like, no. Um, so I think people need to understand their limits, and
Mhm.
us as coaches, we need to make sure people aren't pushing them too far for no reason.
Yeah.
Um, I think the mindset for most people is harder and faster equals better, but that doesn't always mean the right case. You might just get injured, which is not going to be fun for anybody.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. And I
so
think
yeah,
one thing you touched on as well is about not, for people not being able. One thing I realize is like because we've become so used to not maybe doing as much and moving as much now, that actually for people to even lift their arms above their heads, it's become
yeah,
less and less. So yeah, so even doing a press, it's
well, yeah,
because
the range of motion, yeah.
yeah, because there isn't
Mm.
really anything that we do anymore that would make us lift. We don't even at work. We're almost told not to lift anything above our heads anymore. So it's
Crazy, right? But
you had that training, huh?
yeah, yeah, don't lift this way. Oh my lord.
Yeah,
But how do you lift a baby above your head?
yeah,
Yeah, so that's probably the only thing we do lift above our heads. You're right. But yeah, you're right. I think things like shoulder mobility for most people is a bit of a struggle. And everyone's sat at desks, so all rounded. Um, so people probably need to do more work on pulling rather than overhead pressing.
yeah,
It's probably a big one for most people.
yeah,
Most people. But yeah, I think it's about how you treat exercise as a tool for health rather than just a tool for I want to lose weight, so I'm going to exercise.
hmm
And I think having that mindset around exercise opens up so many doors to what you can do in your life, if you just get stronger and fitter
yeah,
and more mobile,
yeah.
definitely.
I
So
think a lot of the time as well, it's just to kind of just start getting people to carve out that time for themselves to do something. It's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then, how you decide to use it then is down to you. But
well, no one ever has a bad workout. It's always funny when people, sometimes they drag themselves to a session, they get through it, and then afterwards they go, "Man, that was awesome. I feel so much better."
yeah,
And you're like, "Well," and it is the best medicine, I think, for most people. Um, just getting out, and especially if in a group session, they're around people. Um, yeah, I think just doing some exercise is awesome for everybody.
yeah,
And we know that it has benefits for depression and things like that as well. So people do your exercise, it's good for you.
yeah. So I've just
Do
got
it.
some comments here that somebody, Uma Smith, doesn't like those Bulgarian split squats. They said they're a nightmare for me. I'd take a heavy squat over it any day. Yeah, Bulgarian split squats.
Ah,
And
train
then
people,
William
train
Brown,
people.
he said he's torn left shoulder ACL, sorry, 3 times over the years. Adapted my bench to dumbbell rather than barbell. Yep, with shoulder rotated back and 90-degree rotation in the left works a treat for me. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's another perfect adaptation, right?
Yeah.
Is, because people's shoulders don't like bars, so use dumbbells.
Mm-hmm.
You know, use 2 bottles of water. It,
Tin of
you've
beans.
always Oh yeah, the tin of beans is always a classic one, isn't it? For most people, I've got to have my tin of beans. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's all resistance training. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
just question for you, Gillian. Like, what's your preference? Is it around strength training or is it around cardio? Because that's always a big one.
I like strength stuff. I'm all around strength.
Okay.
I'm totally strength. Like I prefer doing sort of body weight exercises as well. And also, yeah, I'm happy in a gym. Get me in, do barbells.
Yeah. Just gonna lift
Barbells,
heavy things.
pull-ups, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I enjoy.
Yeah.
I like to mix it up, but yeah, I get fed up with cardio. So that's
Yeah. Like cardio. No, thank you. I
mm.
think we should get you on a climbing wall maybe one day.
Oh yeah, 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 totally. See, because I did calisthenics and things like that for a year, so I'm all around. Yeah, I love nothing better than kind of
All right. Well, when you're
doing
in
pull-ups
London,
and
we'll get
climbing
you
and
on a wall. Yeah, we'll
yeah.
get you on a wall. But
What
again, I
a,
think that's another way to make exercise fun because you can do it on a social level.
mhm.
It's anyone can do it. So if you said, right, I'm going to just go climbing 3 times a week, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Find something you enjoy um, to go and do that. Definitely to start your exercise habit
yeah,
is a big one for most people.
absolutely. And how much or how often would you tell people to kind of do some sort of exercise, or do you incorporate strength training into all your programs and that, or does it?
Every one of my clients, and I've got 99% clients that are women, they lift heavy stuff.
Yeah,
Obviously heavy relative to their level of fitness and strength, but they lift stuff.
yeah.
Um, there is very little long distance cardio, um, unless someone is running for, training for a marathon, etc. But even then, I would always get some strength training in because you need strength to be able to perform every other task. So
Yeah.
there's always strength training. Um, there's always an ideal amount, so 3 to 4 times a week. But if you can get two, get two. If you can get one, get one. But you have to look at your lifestyle and your situation. But yeah, I think 2 times a week is a definite. It's kind of your best minimum
Yeah,
for me.
yeah,
What about
definitely.
yourself?
Yeah, I know. Whenever I always say 3 times a week, I think people can get it 3 times in. Um,
Yeah,
just to, I think it just helps create the habit. I think sometimes, and I just think it kind of creates the habit quicker as well. So, just to get them
hmm
into that routine and into that flow, really. Um,
definitely.
so, and of the women that do the strength training and that, were they very apprehensive at the start of it? Are they kind of very nervous about doing it? Are these women that are totally up for it? Or what would you
I
say?
think um, I think strength training has kind of now become almost normal for people
Hmm.
again. Um, but if we take it back to kind of the 60s and maybe 70s, women were lifting weights all the time. There's only kind of 70s and 80s where Jane Fonda took over. We all started doing the grapevine and all that stuff. Um, which, don't get me wrong, has its place. I think it's still important, but I think most of them at first they're a bit like, "Ooh, I'm a bit unsure," and they pick up the lightest weight. And obviously, I'll observe and go, "Actually, pick up a heavier weight." And I think it can be really empowering for people as well to be able to see what they can do, um, and the changes that they see in their physique as well. I think is massive. I've got some of my clients. They're like standing there checking out their arms and their back, and yeah. So I think it has so many benefits to people. So ladies, just lift some weights now and again. Just get comfortable with it. Like it's not going to make you big and bulky.
Hmm.
You're not going to turn into the Incredible Hulk, unless you wish to. Of course, there's ways to do that, but it's not going to turn you into the Incredible Hulk. Especially if you're on a fat loss diet, it's not gonna make you the Hulk.
Yeah,
So
yeah, totally.
yeah.
And also the other benefits as well is like, the hormone imbalances, sugar, energy levels, things like that. They're all actually are improved when you put strength training in there. So,
Yeah, osteoporosis and osteopenia
yeah,
as well. So especially for ladies getting older and going into menopause and perimenopause, it's like it's like gold
yeah,
for you guys. So yeah, definitely, definitely.
that's right.
And I think if you're trying to lose weight, um, often people do really hard cardio, high intensity training when they're already stressed. And often I find that they start to eat more when they do loads and loads of cardio.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I would suggest a balance of doing maybe 1 to 2 cardio sessions a week, but really try and emphasize as much of the strength stuff as you can, um, and incorporate into the training. You can do a weight bearing circuit that will get you out of breath really quickly if you plan it right. So it
Yeah.
can be done. So don't be scared, ladies. Don't be scared.
Cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bit of CrossFit style, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, CrossFit's just a brand, but everyone's been doing CrossFit since the days of the Greeks, right? It's
Yeah.
just a brand. We've all been lifting, and yeah, it's just circuit training, really. Let's be honest.
Yeah. True, true, cool.
Controversial.
So
Cool.
yeah, so then then you kind of touched on there about fat loss as well. So when you're doing stress training, obviously we talked then protein goes into that when we're talking about gains, and I know you did a touched on that. Thanks for
Oh
incorporating
yeah,
some ladies. Okay, someone's appreciating the fact that you're talking about women of, that are older. Still should be strength training, ladies. Get going.
rest of your life, rest of your life, rest of your life. Um,
So protein, and that's the other side of things, really, how to get the nutrition right as well. It's not, you know, to even help certainly on a fat loss phase.
yeah,
Um, so what's your take on that then?
yeah. So it's funny. Obviously, we talked about it earlier that I just did a post on protein. Um, it's so essential for everything in life, whether you get that from your plants or your animals. Sorry, vegans, whatever. That's cool. But I think it's important that you get it in. You get enough for your weight and your activity level. And I think we forget that protein makes up enzymes as well as muscles. So um, it's got a multiple role in your life. So as well as keeping you full on a fat loss diet.
Mhm.
So yeah, protein should be the kind of bedrock of all of your nutrition, and then build your diet around your protein intake. So yeah, how do you get your clients to get enough protein in?
That's it. Well, probably the exact same way because I think it's always a big education, I think, certainly for a lot of whenever I start with any new clients, really, they don't really, or a lot of the times people maybe have a lot of protein in their meals at the end of the day, but they probably haven't had very much throughout the day. And although
Hmm?
our bodies don't have any capacity to store protein, so that doesn't actually work. Unlike
Yeah,
carbohydrates and fats, we've
yeah,
got storage there, but we don't for protein. And so it's something that should be drip fed really throughout the day. Certainly for, and again, like you say, based on your activities as well, I actually and so if you're going through a fat loss, then yeah, definitely, I think it is a big education for people to actually understand. It's not about eating tons and tons of chicken. It doesn't have to be a big amount to see improvements, but definitely a more conscious consideration
yeah.
does actually reap a lot of rewards. And I've seen that time and time again myself whenever I've had women just, and I've kind of given them, we track and we use my fitness pal to look at, what their diets do actually look like. And we can start to see the numbers and go right, aim for certain targets, and they start to feel
Hmm.
the benefits, they start to see the benefits as well, and or start to see the changes that it makes to themselves, and they don't feel, and they don't feel hungry basically because of it. So, and that's
Yeah,
that's the other thing is to have it, you know, a drip fed throughout the day, so you do actually balance out those energy levels.
yeah,
Because a lot of the time, again, we not eating much during the day, or eating very little, or not having a full balanced meals throughout the day, then all of a sudden you're having that at nighttime, and it's like, you know, you stuff yourself
Yeah.
then, but maybe you haven't quite balanced your energy throughout the day. So
Well, I think it stops you, like you said, having the biscuits at 10:30 that Rita, the office feeder, brings around, right? We all seen it. Someone comes around with flapjacks, and you're like, "Oh, I'm hungry." But you've only had like a croissant for breakfast,
yeah,
so yeah, it definitely keeps you fuller for longer. Um, and also because it just takes a little bit longer to chew, it makes you slow down your eating, I find. Um, so you have to actually chew your food, not just throw it down. I think that's a big one for people. Like people just go, yeah, finished, and then they wonder why they're trying to go for um, snacks and stuff in the evening after that. So I think that's something as well. On top of the protein, slow down, people. Slow down. There's
yeah.
no rush. There's no rush.
So someone's
Um,
put a comment up here. So I can definitely feel a difference, especially with satiety. Um, if I don't eat enough protein, I'm so much more hungrier and keep snacking on sugary and junk treats. So, you know,
yeah,
absolutely. And you know, I feel it myself when I do that as well. If I haven't had enough, and it's just what you get used to as well, I suppose, as well. And there's something else I was going to say there on it. Yeah, and I think a lot of the times as well is that people don't it takes extra effort actually to consider protein, because a lot of the time we don't protein isn't readily available in things that we usually have, you know what I mean? So it does take
yeah.
maybe some extra preparation and thought needs to go into, you know, what you're gonna meals and things like that there. So um
And I think especially when you transition from an omnivorous diet to a vegetarian style diet, because of more people are trying to change over, it does take a little bit more planning because obviously in vegetable protein's not going to be as high. So you have to plan it a little bit. You can't just wing it. You have to plan, like you say,
yeah.
definitely.
So
Are
we've
you, are
had
you reading the comments?
yeah, I'm reading. Yeah. Have either of you incorporated easy cooking education with clients rather than just nutritional education? Easy cooking. Don't know.
Do
Don't
you
know.
know? If I could go to all my clients' houses,
Yeah,
yeah,
I know. I
like
have had that. Right. I need to sort out your kitchen and make this easier. So,
yeah.
you know,
Oh,
that's just to touch on that. That's kind of something I know I've posted about that before, and it's just basically about decluttering and simplifying what foods you actually have.
yeah,
Now, I'm, you know, myself, I simplify. I probably don't, probably buy the same foods pretty much week in, week out. Maybe
yeah,
every couple of weeks I might change something, but on the
yeah.
whole, I don't have lots and lots and lots of different types of meals, if you like. It's,
Which is really funny. I think people think that they're going to have to when they're trying to lose weight or get healthier. They think I'm going to have all of these different foods. When actually, like you say, most people have the same foods they've had for the last 20 years. If I look back at their supermarket receipts, it'll be exactly the same. Um, so I think people should try and maybe just go, right, I'm going to try something different this week. Try
mm-hmm.
one thing, one meal. BBC Good Foods is an awesome place for recipes for this kind of stuff.
Hmm.
20-minute recipes, free as well. But just try one thing, see if you like it. Is it easy to cook? Is it tasty? Does the whole family like it? Then it's a winner. But yeah, I think the skill of cooking and decluttering your kitchen is a really big one. Like have your food scale handy. Um, it's actually really weird that people will weigh their cake mix, but they won't weigh their food. What is that about? Like if you get a recipe for a cake, they'll go, "Oh, I'll weigh all that out, make sure it's perfect." Okay, cool. Weigh your food. What?
Wow.
It's really weird, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm just
They're
reading
definitely
another
doing it.
comment here from William. I know people who wouldn't know how to cut a pepper.
That's probably me. My pepper cutting skills are awful. I just yeah, chuck it
Um,
in.
there's many ways you
Yeah.
can cut a pepper, I think, really. But yeah, I don't know. Do not
It's
teach that in schools these days, no? I was like, I'm sure.
well, but that's one of the things I think like home ec and stuff like that doesn't happen as much. And I think William's right. We don't have that skill to cook. Um, you walk down the high street and it's just takeaway shops, right?
Yeah.
Um, Do you remember when KFC ran out of chicken
Yeah.
and all the parents were going, "I can't feed my children." What?
Yeah.
So yeah, so yeah, William's got a point. William's got a point. We all need to learn to cook.
Watch out, William. There'll be a whole set of YouTube sliced peppers from supermarkets. There you go. Buy
I, I,
sliced
I,
frozen
I'll,
veg. That's it.
I'll happily do a video on how to season chicken properly for people. I'll happily do that. I get a bit upset about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, make it tasty, have spices around, try different ways of cooking it, and you'll find foods you love. So yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
awesome.
And totally, I thought, yeah, Emma's just come in there by having sliced peppers, by sliced peppers from supermarkets. So frozen veg, absolutely brilliant. Simple, certain frozen veg. I don't eat all frozen veg because some of them are just horrible and go mushy and bleh. Like no, like broccoli. No, you can't have frozen broccoli unless you're cooking it in something. But trying to eat frozen broccoli is horrible. So too much water.
I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it in a minute. Actually,
No,
I'm gonna go
that's
to
not my
shop.
thing.
I'm gonna go to the gym, and then I'm gonna try it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah. Um,
cool.
so yeah, definitely that's one thing to kind of consider. And it comes down to simplifying, I think, as well. And if you know, and one thing I always talked about, through people that maybe have gone through different sorts of diets that they've followed, that they've probably got a collection of organic whatever's in the cupboards that have been used once or not, never even used more than once, or so it's like getting rid of all that stuff as well, stuff that you
Hmm.
actually aren't using. So getting rid of anything that's out of date, like I mean
Yeah,
really out of date.
yeah, yeah.
you know
I think
uh,
sticking to foods that you kind of know and love, like what your mum probably cooked for you, you could probably still have, just maybe not, that much pasta. You might need to just take it down a little bit, but
mm,
choose foods that kind of culturally fit into what you've been brought up with as well. I'm not
yeah,
saying don't try anything new, but if you're used to meat and potatoes, then have some meat and potatoes because that's what you'll like and you'll likely stick to it rather than going, right, I'm going to eat avocados all day and
yeah,
you don't like them. Yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah, stay close to home.
Yeah, totally. And like I had that recently, and when I was working with someone to kind of look at nutrition and we're like, how do I go around planning this out and doing meal plans, and we worked on like three options, and then she was like, well, what I would do was swapping this, and I was like, well, you don't have to make huge swaps. The swaps are can be instead of chicken, switch in some fish, or if you can different types of minces. So you can get turkey mince, pork mince. It's like it goes on and on and on. It doesn't have to, and even just doing that changes the flavor and the texture a little bit. It can be enough to give you variety. It doesn't have to be a
Yeah.
completely whole
Yeah.
new recipe. So
Use some seasoning, use a different type of seasoning.
yeah,
Harissa seasoning is awesome, all purpose seasoning.
yeah,
Yeah, there's so many easy ways to do it. Keep it simple, people. Keep it simple.
yeah,
Are
cool.
you, are you reading? Are you reading again?
No, well, William's like, yeah, he loves his food. Love my food. So do I. Love my food.
I think that's the problem for most people, William. We all love food. Food's awesome. Food is to be loved and to be loved
Yeah, yeah.
and enjoyed. Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, awesome, Greg. I think we'll wrap it
All
up
right.
there and let you crack on.
Yeah,
We've
I need to
been
get in the
chatting on
gym
forever again.
again. I know.
But
Busy week.
thanks for joining in, everybody, and thanks for all your comments and your questions
Yeah.
as well. So we kind of covered a
I
few
hope everyone
topics
finds it
there.
useful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And if
Awesome. We
anyone
will
else,
do it again soon.
definitely, yeah, we'll have anyone any more questions, by all means, just pop them in the
Yeah.
comments below and we'll catch up on
Maybe we should do
anything.
this. Maybe we should do a weekly thing. Why
Yeah,
not?
I
Just
know, weekly Q&A.
once a week. Yeah. Actually, we call it the G&G.
Yeah.
Like with Greg. Yeah. There you go. All right. Let's do it.
We'll work on the title, Greg, yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, I'll leave you that to you then.
Dead on, no worries. Right, guys. Cheers,
Take care.
Greg. See you soon.
Bye.
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 Oh.